of the world that are great for one kind of job but not so good for another kind of job. So we just happen to move, like for my particular field of work, certain parts of Texas and California are the best for what I do. We just don't live there. And so I, am humble enough to accept that's, although I have applications in for certain jobs that are kind of close to what I do or did with the space shuttle program, I'm a taxi driver because it allows me to have a flexible schedule. If I do need to take a trip, for example, going to Italy for 10 days, if you have a job where you're like a military subcontractor working at a 9 to 5, 40-hour-a-week, Monday through Friday kind of job that's kind of hard-lined, to just randomly say, hey, I've got to go away for 10 days, it's not so easy to pull off. It's like, have you saved up vacation time? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to get all that corporate crap. Whereas as a taxi driver, I make enough money to where I can save enough money on the side. And then if I have to go on these trips, they're cool with it. And so that gives me flexibility to travel if needed. But also because of the schedule, it's a 4-10 schedule, 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. So I get 3 days off where I can do this, have conversations with great people like you, or sit down and do CFS work, try to find grants and fill out grant applications to get funding through government grants, or hunt up more investing firms or something like that, or send out more letters and emails and blah, blah, blah. So do all kinds of CFS work. It gives me 3 full days plus 3 full days with my family. Family's very important to me. So with my kids and my wife, when our days off work together, being able to go to chorus concerts and stuff like that. So, I have the ability to be family flexible, job flexible, and have enough time to do CFS. So, although it doesn't pay nearly as much as an engineering job would by a long shot, it helps cover some of the bills, and my wife works as well. The situation is not ideal, like many people, we're still kind of barely making it week to week. But I can only, hope that all this struggle and kind of pushing forward will still get CFS launched, and I'll be able to, I want to be able to, even though we're stuck in the system, I want to be able to set my family up so that we don't have to worry about money anymore, so that we can focus our energies on the more important things of making the world a better place and doing all of that work that means so much to help get us off the drug of money, this addiction that we have. I want to do everything I can to move ourselves in that direction from, I just want to make enough money to buy an off-grid house, or buy a house and take it off the grid, make it self-sustaining so that I don't have an electric bill, I don't have a water bill, stuff like that. Reduce my financial need as much as possible so that I don't have to pay myself a whole lot, and kind of push those monies back towards making CFS better, or starting other companies that do other things. I have other ideas besides smart farming, but I can't do them until I have the resources to do them. So they're a little more complicated than a smart greenhouse, but there's other things I would like to do. And I'd like to be able to fund them myself and not have to ask for help, or half fund it myself and only ask for half of the help. Something like that would be great. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's like, the ultimate goal that I've got at the moment is just to get the hell off the grid. I've been looking into loads of things to for either like customizable like home construction, like things like earth ships, and I've experimented with the ideas of like shipping container homes and stuff like that, and it's but as we've covered a couple of times, even in this show alone, that it's it's the money. It's kind of like with a spaceship that needs to utilize a huge amount of energy in order to be able to escape the gravity well of this planet. Just like that, we as people who need to get off the grid, a lot of the time, well, virtually all the time, we need that initial investment to be able to, acquire the like the materials and the and the means to be able to get off the grid. So I mean, like you said, as you rightfully said, we do still live in a system of money, and we do need to use money in that sense. It's just getting round to being able to finance those things, because just like yourself, I myself live virtually paycheck to paycheck, and I'm trying to save up the money for it. It's just like little trickles here and there, and because I myself, I don't have a high paying job, so it's tough, man. It really is tough, like because it's like being in a being in a cesspool without a crane.
Yeah. I mean,
you need that
the
crane.
the want and desire to get off the grid is unfortunately hamstrung by the financial capability of getting off the grid, and it's just not that easy to do unless, like you said, you want to go live in the mud hut in the middle of nowhere. And I'm sorry, I have no interest in that, and most people don't. And I sure as hell know that my kids wouldn't want to. And this reversionist philosophy of going backwards in time is to me silly. Good luck convincing the planet to do that. And you've got tell the people who live in sub-Saharan Africa to just stay where you are. You're living very low grid. We're also fucking dying of this, that, and the other thing. Our medical system sucks. We have no comforts. It's malaria and all that other stuff. Fuck off. Like we live in a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with air conditioning and all that stuff, and an adequate medical system. So there's something to be said for progress. There's also something to be said for misused and abused progress, and that's kind of what we're dealing with is the misused and abused developments that we have, where if we just kind of restructured society, and we talk about this all the time in the movement and everything else, and not to be some old version of somebody else's idea like Marx or any of those thoughts of communism, socialism, all those old world isms, but something completely different that's more adaptable to today's world. That we have the capability to do that. We're just not doing it because everything costs, and it costs to get off the grid. And so, I do have future projects in my head on how to help people do that, to get off the grid. But I can't do any of that without a decent chunk of change to start it with. And this will be the kind of project where I will most certainly lose money on it, because that's not the point. I want to be able to have enough money to lose money doing things to help people. That's what I want to do. I mean, a lot of people have asked me, Douglas, do you want to become one of those rich elites? Well, I want to become rich. I wouldn't call myself elite. And the reason why I want to get rich is so that I can blow that money on helping people reduce their dependence on money. Because there's no way to make a profit on taking somebody completely off the grid, because, they're not going to pay you anymore, and they're not going to pay for it anymore, right? So where's the financial return on helping people get off the grid? There really isn't in the long run, right? Because we know what the long run is. But if I could become a billionaire, I would gladly chuck $1 billion down a hole. As long as I'm off the grid so that my family's covered, then I can help everybody else do the same, as long as I've got the money coming in to do so. So that would be an epic way for me to exit this planet, is if by the time I'm 80, 90 years old or whatever, that not only did CFS help feed a bunch of people, but I was able to install other projects that, helped other people get off the grid in various ways and kind of improve the planet or whatever the case may be. That's what I would love to do. And sadly, in today's world, you kind of have to be really rich to do that kind of stuff. If you want to be that kind of philanthropist, if you want to be that kind of, to that level, you're sure as hell not going to help the world get better by being broke. Because there's no change you can affect. There's nothing you can do. So, that's just how it is. So you've got to have boat ton of money in order to affect a boat ton of change.
Yeah, and I guess in terms of people, your will to just like throw that money out there for those other projects. I mean, for you, by the time you get to that point, you would have built up a track record of habits and ability that that you'd be perfectly fine. Even if you wanted, you could piss it all up the wall, because you've already done it. You've already got to the point where you can make that amount of money, so that you can just make that money again. And that's the thing with that kind of abundance based mindset, where you think to yourself, well, because I mean, it's a bit like if you go up to a homeless person and you say to them, I'll tell you what, I can do you a deal. I can either give you $1 now, or I can teach you how to make $1 million. He's not exactly going to go for the second one. He's going to go for the first one, but either that, or he's going to be like, well, I'll take the one, I'll take the $1 million. Take the $1 million. Sorry, I'll take the $1 for now. But can you teach me also how to make $1 million? In those instances, they want to have their cake and eat it. But that's because they're in a scarcity-based mindset. They don't want to. It's not in their frame of reference to know how to make that amount of money, because they don't have that track record of habits built up. But that's why I completely because I dare say some of the people that you've spoken to at the UN, people who themselves are either very lucrative themselves or have the support of people who are lucrative, they giving away millions of thousands, maybe millions of dollars, wouldn't really be a big deal for them, because they know they can make it again. Would you say would you say that's true for most of those kind of people you've met?
Well, maybe they could. I mean, governments could, because they tax the people and stuff like that, but they just, of course, spend their money in all kinds of silly ways. I mean, the government blows a lot of money on a lot of different things. I mean, we have social programs that are supposed to help people that are poorly managed, so they spend a lot of money. They don't get a return on it, but they're supposed to be helping the people. The problem is that what they've invested into is shitty, and it doesn't really do the right job or something like that. So it's poorly spent resources. And they can get money again, and they do it again. And of course, there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse built into a lot of those programs, where somebody along the line is making a buck off of somebody else. And that's this parasitic nature of the society that we have. But I look at it that if these ministers of agriculture and stuff aren't millionaires, most of them are just government officials like other low level. They're not presidents or kings or queens or anything like that who are pulling on the financial purse strings. They're not wealthy elites in and of themselves. Most of them are just mid-level employees, I guess you could say, of the government. But so I don't know if they have the resources to do that. But you've got I would like to think that once, I guess, there's a psychological aspect to this. I think differently than other people do, I guess. You've got people who have gotten rich through the thought process of the way it is done in today's world, the fight your way up the ladder, kill or be killed predatory mentality of becoming wealthy, or they inherited it and didn't do a damn thing and just got it because of mommy and daddy. There's that too. But they are psychologically programmed to still continue that predatory nature of things, right? And I don't think they could possibly fathom just throwing their money away to help people like that, because it's against their programming to do that. Whereas I hate the system. I know I've got to work with it. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I hate the system the way it is. And if it's at all possible for me to make a boatload of money, get myself off the grid so that my family's covered, so that I don't have any extraneous expenses, pay myself just enough to navigate the world, because the world still uses money, so of course I got to still pay myself to do other things, right? But as long as my living conditions are covered, then I can take all the extra money that I'm no longer spending on that stuff and help other people, and I don't need a return on that. Because I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to make the money from the selling of the food businesses, and I want to take that money and do other things to help other people. So I'm still going to make money. I mean, I did a calculation. If I sold 100 buildings a month for, I think it was like, I'd have to do it for like 5,000 years in order to cover the entire planet with enough food systems to that was assuming.
Wow.
That's assuming that CFS was the only food system. Of course, it shouldn't be. By the way, the diversity of agriculture is important. I do not think that CFS is the one and only. It's not the holy grail of agriculture. There are many other ways to grow food. There's, like I said, inside of a city, skyscraper farming, rooftop farming, things like that. Agropolis buildings that are skyscrapers specifically designed to grow food on 10, 15, 20-story levels. You've seen a lot of concept art on that kind of stuff. Using omega garden systems and permaculture and more organic farming methods, using traditional landscaping if you wanted to in regions that can handle it is great. So I don't think CFS is the ultimate solution to everything. I think it's a piece of the second agricultural revolution pie, because I think we are in the midst of a second agricultural revolution, or what I call Agro 2.0. Agro 2.0 involves a lot of the vertical aqua and hydroponic systems to grow food with a much smaller footprint, but in a much more efficient way. Agro 2.0 also includes drastic reduction in meat production, getting people more towards fruits, vegetables, and nuts, and less off of the meat-centric philosophy. So I think that's part of Agro 2.0 as well, which we've already touched base on all of those. So I think CFS is a piece of the puzzle, but not the only thing. But I could sell buildings for hundreds of years and still not, really and affect a certain amount of the landscape, but not all of it. So in my lifetime, I'll definitely be able to continue providing this service, this ability for people to manage their food, to know where their food comes from in their own backyard, kind of thinking. Well, long before I die, it'll go on well after I'm dead. Hopefully, my kids will take it over or something like that. But in the meantime, I will generate hopefully enough revenue to filter that back into other projects, and even if those projects they're not money making schemes, that's okay, because I've got the CFS thing. The CFS thing is what will give me the money, and it'll be able to do that for a very long time, so that I can then use that money to do things that might not make me money, and I'm okay with that, because I'm not about making money. I don't want to make money just to say, oh look, I'm Scrooge McDuck and I've got a bank and I can swim in coins or whatever. Swim in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck does. I have no interest in doing that. I just want to be as clean and green and sustainable as I can, and then help other people do the same. I just believe that the best way to do that is to use the system to change the system and become wealthy and help make that happen in different kinds of ways, whether it's helping to reduce poverty, which automatically helps reduce crime, which then you can implement educational systems. And, I would love to sit down and have a meeting with Sir Ken Robinson and Sugata Mitra and potentially Alfie Kohn, and sit down and say, let's develop the most amazing educational construct you can think of, K through 12, or however you want to set it up, life learning, K through 80 or whatever. A program that one of the best ways to teach people, and how you would do that for kids and all that, and develop a curriculum, not really a curriculum, but a program, and implement those into neighborhoods and stuff like that. Start teaching locally using alternative forms of education. And if people don't know who Sir Ken Robinson is, he does an amazing RSA talk on how schools kill creativity and a lot of the problems with modern education. You got Sugata Mitra, who took internet-connected computers and dropped them in the middle of rural villages in India and didn't teach the kids anything, and and the kids ended up teaching themselves how to navigate Google and learn stuff, just showing that the power of self-learning is a big deal. And if you just add a moderator on top of that, not a teacher, but somebody who helps facilitate the organic process of learning, that children learn more and more diverse and faster and better than being forced to sit in a chair and look at the authority figure at the head of the class. So there's that. So sitting these people down, and then you've got Alfie Kohn, although I have a problem with his views on competition, but that's a different subject. I still believe that a lot of what he says, there's some kernels of truth to utilize there as well. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. I don't need to agree with somebody 100% on something, as long as most of what we share is accurate and or moves forward. So yeah, I'd love to do that and set up an educational foundation that works with those individuals. So it's just, I have plans, I have ideas, but I've got to get CFS going first. I think CFS is the easiest thing to do, because there's nothing more important than our biological need of food and water. And CFS definitely tackles the food bit and helps with the water bit by using less, and by also the pollution reversal thing that I mentioned earlier. So food and water, if you can get to people's stomachs and get them fed and help them, let them have clean water, that goes a very long way into helping them respect the technological systems that are doing that for them, that are helping them. You can teach them, which fortifies the educational construct, to let them view technology not as a negative, but as a positive that they can work with, instead of something that just does for. I think there's a big difference between letting technology do all the work for you and you being a fat, lazy slob in the corner like a schmuck, or you letting the technology help you out most of the way, and you learning and respecting how it does it, and then doing a little bit to facilitate the rest.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, I guess just to close this out, would you say that there's any like resources or links or anything that you would recommend for people to find out about the kind of things that you're doing, and and anything that you would like the audience to know about and to look into?
Let's see. Well, there's the website for my company, which is cyberfarmsystems.com. Sadly, somebody else already happened to get the domain cybernativefarmsystems.com, so I was like, what the hell? I thought I had a completely unique name, and some schmuck already took it. So it's cyberfarmsystems.com, so that's the company website. Anybody who wants to follow on the North Sudan, the Kingdom of North Sudan thing, which is, I don't know really what's going to happen with this, but, who knows? I mean, it could be something amazing. It's kind of funny. A lot of Ziggies talk about a test city. People who still love the Venus Project and all that other stuff talk about, where could we do a test city? Well, hey, well, you can do it in your own new country maybe, or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's kingdomsudan.org. Kingdomsudan.org. And then what else? What do we talk about? Sir Ken Robinson. Anybody could Google his name and find it. He does RSA presentations, the animated presentation. It's amazingly done. In fact, it was Sir Ken Robinson's RSA animation on that motivated or inspired me to create the whiteboard animation video that CFS currently has, describing who we are and what we're doing. That's on our homepage. So that's a direct influence. I had never seen whiteboard animation until then. So I thought that was amazing, and we were able to make a 3-minute video using the whiteboard animation style. So that was cute. And that's basically, that's all I can think of. Sugata Mitra, Sugatamitra, is another person people can Google. He also does I think his is a TED Talk. His is either a TED Talk or an RSA, but I think it's a TED. And then Alfie Kohn also has some good work that he's done in the realm of education and dynamic learning and stuff like that. So I'm big on education too. And so that's all I can think of right there.
All right. Okay, cool. Well, just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast was brought to you by Quote Minecraft, the brand new piece of software that combines the gaming experience with video editing. So if you have your own agenda to push and you need to involve the work of someone else and characterize them in their own sort of way, there's a really, really, really fun way of doing it. Go to www.quoteminecraftforyou.com and you can get that there. If you click on the troll icon, the top left of the page, and enter the code name Sucker, you can get 25% off. So you can get that there. This podcast was also brought to you by Russell Brand, Caroline Lucas MP, and Sir Patrick Stewart. So be sure to thank them in whatever way you can for sponsoring this podcast, because the more of us that actually do thank them for their sponsorship, the more likely they are to come on and actually have a good chinwag with me about science and sustainability. Because, I mean, for one thing, we do need celebrity endorsement. I hate to sound like a bit of a whore, but if there's one thing that celebrities are definitely able to do is to get certain ideas into the mainstream mindset. So I just thought I'd use that kind of angle for that sort of thing. But for now, I've actually completed my triad of sponsorship. So we've got the 3 points on the pyramid. And I'm thinking of actually taking up, because there's this weird cloak and dagger organisation by the name of TOS, triad of sponsorship that provide this service where they can do this graphic for you, where like each of your sponsors are in each of the corners, and you can have a picture of one of your eyes put in to put near the top of the thing. I'm not sure if I want to go for that. I mean, being a Ziggy myself, I'm a huge. I have such a penchant for Masonic symbolism. I mean, it's getting me hard even now just thinking about it. But that aside, if as many of us as possible, contact my triad of sponsorship, thank them for sponsoring this podcast. Hopefully they'll come on to have a talk with us. So find whatever way you can of thanking them. But that's it for me. Next time I'm probably going to do another film review, because ever since I started doing the film reviews, I've been watching loads and loads of other films that have so many different socially conscious elements, and and even just elements that are relevant to the issues of like social change or even social control, and ways that those mechanisms can be circumvented. So I'm probably gonna do another film review next time. So, but that's all the time we have for this particular podcast. So it's a goodbye from me, and say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug. Goodbye, everybody.